Welcome, everyone, to creating the foundation of your life. I'm your host for today. My name is Laleh Hancock, and I am going to be sharing some tools with you guys from Access Consciousness and my own life. And we will be sharing, I'm sure, together many tools from all of our lives. And I want to first thank the translator, Dagmara, who is also doing this in German for us. And if any of those participants have any questions, please unmute in the English Zoom, and we'll be able to hear your question in German and go from there. First, I'd like to apologize. We weren't able to get together the last time this class was created. And there was hundreds of you guys that were interested. But with everything that was going on and all the changes that were happening in Global Foundation, energetically, I got this actually would be a greater contribution to happen now versus then. So thank you for being here. Most of you guys know, but if you're new and you have no idea what Access Consciousness is, it's actually a set of tools that were created almost 30 years ago by a gentleman named Gary Douglas, and now the co-creator, Dr. Dane here. And a lot of the tools are just about questions, about ways to empower you to know what you actually know. Has nothing to do with education or your upbringing, but it's this ability, this innate ability that we all have. And especially when we're talking about the foundation of our lives, I think so many of us look to where we grew up or even the languages that we speak as that foundation. But really, it's these ideas and ways that you've defined your life, your business, your relationships, that hold them very solid as a foundation. And I'd like to invite you guys to actually exploring that from a different place of maybe not so much solidness, but it has the ability to change and become something very different every minute, every second, actually. So nothing that you've had in your past even has to be part of the future unless you desire it to be. So as we start to have these conversations, we also start to look at our points of views, things that we bought. Like I remember for me, my dad used to always say, you have to work hard to make money. Now, his idea of working hard meant leave the house at 7 a.m. and come home at 7 p.m. But in reality, he loved every aspect of business. He had so much joy. So it was this point of view that I wonder who he had bought it from, that making money had to be difficult, but how he applied it to his life was actually very different than the words that he would speak out. So as we ask questions in Access, we also have a clearing statement, and it's right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And I'm going to be saying that after I ask you guys questions, because it's about bringing up all those thoughts, feelings, emotions, all these hidden agendas and reference points and points of views that we don't actually realize end up limiting what we have available to choose from. And then it's like this little magic wand that just kind of like all this energy and all these lies and all these inventions and points of views that come up, we can actually erase them just like that. Now, some things we have held on to them little bit longer. We have a nice tight hold around it and may need to do it more than once. But it really comes to the willingness to let go of whatever it is you're desiring to let go of, and also open the doors to possibilities. So before we get started, I'm just kind of curious. Foundation of your life. It sparked you guys to sign up. All of you who are here live, all of you who are listening to this in the future, I'm just curious, what was it about this that intrigued you enough to come and be part of a 1-hour conversation with me about? And would you be willing to share it? You can unmute and share, or you can also add it in our chat. It's at the bottom here of your screen. Anyone want to share? The word foundation, looking to recreate my foundation, from Karen.
I do.
Hi.
Claudia. Hi.
Hello.
I have no video, Laleh,
No
but I would like to share. What I've been experiencing the last couple of weeks is really looking at everywhere I've created my life from, and I'm becoming more and more aware that it has no solidity, no foundation in itself, and that it's basically down to me, and without anything making anything static or solid or significant, to create something completely new, which is movable, which is changeable at any given moment in time. And this is what the word foundation has inspired me, apart from you being a great facilitator.
Thank you, darling. Well, that's awesome. And, you know, one thing you mentioned is creating something new. And part of the foundation is also not wanting to let go of, well, okay. It's also about the willingness to receive and allow everything you've ever been and anything that's ever been part of your life and living to also be part of that foundation you were talking about generating and creating. So one of the things I would invite us today together is, what if nothing that currently exists in your life is wrong or right? And what if all of it, like you said, Claudia, is bendable and changeable and has the ability to contribute to whatever you desire to have or create with no point of view? And anything that doesn't allow you guys to be, know, perceive, receive, and have the awareness of what that could be for you, we destroy and create it. Right, wrong, good and bad, pump, pop, online, shorts, boys, and beyond. So we've gotten a lot of feedback here, actually. So the word foundation, looking to recreate my foundation. You yourself motivate me. Oh, how cute. How does it get better? It's literally the step I'm requiring at the moment. Wondering the newest of the new stuff on the recent foundation class people are talking about, saying their brain is mush still. We can definitely talk about that. I did the foundation seminar last November. I'm curious what in the global foundation came up suiting the current energies. Yeah. And that's the reason that they actually do the global foundation, the two founders, the two creators of it. They do it once a year because it is about continuously looking at even the tools, the questions that are coming up, and really matching them more to the energies of what exists today and letting go of the ones that don't. Now, the funny part is, even though something may not apply to 80% of the people, and that's how they determine if it stays or doesn't stay in the manual, but the reference material, which is where all of this stuff goes to, you can read it. And even though it may not apply to the majority of the people that are out there, it may still apply to you. So one of the things that I personally love is the questions can always be a contribution. So all the points of views you have of what the new global foundation is, what it's not, the ways it the previous foundations can and can't contribute to you or your life and living, Would you be willing to destroy and create all of that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pom pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Instead, what if every energy that's ever existed, whether it was in this reality, this lifetime, or another, that can contribute to you, your life, and the world, now would you allow all those energies to actually be available to you? And it's your choice if you choose it or not, but will you now allow it all with ease to be available to you? And when we do it from that space, then it might be that there's something that got brought up in this global foundation that may contribute, but it might be something that came up last year or 25 years ago. I mean, Gary's been doing this for, I think, 28 years now. Don't quote me on that, somewhere in that time frame. So what if there was a question from then that could also be a contribution to what you're desiring to add to your life and living now? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm ready to let go of energies and people who no longer serve me. How can I do that when they don't stop hacking me? Okay. So I can, Karina, I think I would rather bring you on live to answer that. But the first thing I'm going to invite us to, okay, is that most programs, modalities, and other things talk about energies as like good energy or bad energy, and energies that we need to let go of. Where access is a little bit different than that is actually, how can every energy be a contribution to you? The difference is, though, is the points of views we have about it. So if we think this person is good or bad, or we think this situation is good or bad, or if we think this energy is good or bad, we actually have to make it be this polar opposite. We have to have a good and a bad to it. But when we're willing to actually be like, okay, what if it doesn't have to be right or wrong or good or bad? If I'm willing to actually say, this is a point of view, is it even my point of view? Someone else's, something else? But if I'm willing to actually instead say, interesting point of view, interesting energy, I allow whatever that is to no longer affect me. Instead, I bring it from wherever it is and allow it to be this space of interesting point of view. And when it's interesting point of view, you allow you to receive information, awareness from it, but you also allow it to assist you in your life. So, Karina, do you want to come off of mute and ask me a question? And I am happy to facilitate you live on it. It just will be a little different interacting together.
Yes.
Hi.
Okay. So I've done a lot of the processing, the work, the letting go, the pot and pock, destroying my relationship with them, because to me they only bring havoc, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to see anything good come out of any of that. There was a point where I would just look at the energy and say, okay, how can I use a little bit to my advantage or to my benefit, or how can I change it to be a contribution instead of destruction? But I've stopped all that. I just try to ignore it now. And I'm not sure, like, letting go, pot and pocket, nothing is working, and they're not going anywhere. They don't leave.
Got it. Is it family? Is it friends? Is it colleagues?
It's people that I used to know that I was very involved in. And I'm done with their energy. I'm done with them. They also do classes like you guys, and they do things like that. And I really don't want to have any part to do with them at all.
Sure. And that's the gift. You get to choose what's going to work for you, you know? And the only thing is, when you say, there was a word you just used. It wasn't, it doesn't work for me anymore. I don't want to have anything to do with them. That word. Did I get that correct?
Yes, yes.
Can
Well,
you?
yeah, it doesn't work for me though. I mean, it just
Yeah.
and I don't want to have anything to do with them, but not necessarily the people that follow them.
Mhm. Okay. So here's the only thing I can share around this area is any resistance you have or any way that they trigger you is this. There's an energy that they're being that also you may ask some questions about. Like when I had this energy with some people, I realized that there was an energy that they were willing to be that I wasn't willing to be. Like I'll tell you, this actually even happened a week ago, maybe 10 days ago. And I was super kind and someone was such a bitch with me. And I was like, okay, so what is this? And I realized the piece that was like annoying me was that they were being such a bitch when I was being kind. And I had to ask myself, okay, what have I been asking to add into my life that this is the energy that is showing up with it? And what I realized is I had a point of view about being a bitch. Now, it's not an everyday point of view. It comes and goes, but it was showing up in my face because it's the energy I had to deal with, not the people. Does that make sense? And you can definitely do that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I had someone in my life that, I cared a lot about, and I realized like they were just there to destroy me, my life, the business, everything. And I asked a lot of questions, and a few months into it, I was like, you know what, this just doesn't work for me. I unfriended them, and I really don't have much to do with them. But when I see them, I now have no charge. Like it's just not there. But it was a choice to unfriend them on Facebook. So you'll find what it is that's going to work for you with these people. But I invite you to go beyond the people and to actually play with the energy that they're willing to be. And then I was like, okay, if I admire you.
So can I just interrupt real quick?
Okay.
So this is something that's been ongoing for a very long time. Telepathically, I never even believed in it, so I wasn't willing to be the potent energy I am. But when I'm walking around, there's nobody, I mean, they come to me and they're a bitch, and I can be that right back, and I get what I want every single time because I am that dominating energy. I just don't do it telepathically. That's where the problem is.
Sure. But what if it doesn't have to be telepathically or physically or anything like that? See, the difference is if you allow it to affect you. That's the piece. And you may want to listen, just even the way you talk about them, there's this underlying energy. So as long as that energy's there, you actually are giving them the control. You can take anyone you want out of your life. It's not
okay. So that energy must go back to my mom, because there was a lot of things that would go on with my mom that I always felt powerless about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like now I don't let her bully me around. I've said no, this is enough. I don't care if you're gonna go take these steps. I'm done with her. What is that energy? What questions do I ask? I need to change this for my sake, because my blood pressure is through the roof, and I know from what I've read from one of the doctors is that this goes back to old hurts, and it goes back to those two people.
Okay. So here's the thing. Access, we do just things different. I'm just going to instead ask you some questions, and you play with it, okay? So one of the first questions I would ask is, if I didn't know this, like if this wasn't all I knew, like the books and what I learned from teachers and from doctors and like if none of that applied, what do I actually know that I'm refusing to know, that if I didn't refuse it, would actually open up and give me total clarity? And anything that doesn't allow me to be, know, perceive, receive, and have the awareness with ease, I destroy and I create all of it. Right, wrong, get him, compound, nitrates, poison out. Now, I'll tell you something else. If it wasn't about your mom, your upbringing, and all of that, what is the energy that these people are sharing with you that you're refusing to be? And if you had interesting point of view, how could you use that energy to your advantage? Because it's very different than you saying, well, I could be the dominating bitch, no problem. But that still comes with a point of view. When you beat every energy with no point of view, you are dominating bitch with no point of view. You are kind. You are all these energies, and no one and nothing can affect you or your body.
Okay, here you go. I was told very young that because of the power that I have to use it for the good, and that I have a huge responsibility, and that I cannot use it unwisely, which I didn't know what it meant, but after a while, it was kind of like, no, you can't be doing that. No, that's not how you should be. No, this is not how you should be. And yet my boyfriend stays there, and he sees the problem going on, and he has absolutely no care in the world to just yell, shut the fuck up and stop acting like kids. And everybody just looks at him and walks their own way. So there was a point in time where I was able to have that, and I don't know where that just went.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if, so everything you've defined about the reason and justification of what you can and cannot be, we destroy and create all of that.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pump back all night, short stories. As long as you're looking for an answer, you're going to stop you from your awareness, from your own capacities and abilities, because you're in this constant, like, what can I blame? What answer could it be? And as long as you put that aside and you're like, okay, everything that was yesterday, I destroy and create all of it. Now, what are my choices? Now, what else is available to me? And I'm going to tell you, for me personally, what I found when I was desiring something in my life and people kept showing up with a certain energy, that was my body, that was the future talking to me to say, hey, this is the energy that you're refusing to be. But if you would be it, what you're asking for is just going to show up. So just play with that. And, once again, you also have choice. You don't have to keep anyone in your life. But that said, you can also make money from them and their judgments and the way that they are and their energies without even looking at them, talking to them, or anything else. But as long as we're in defense mode, we actually have to stop the flows of awareness, information, the contributions from the earth, the contribution from animals.
Okay, there. That's what you just said, the magic word, the defense. I don't understand why I'm in defense. I don't know how to change that.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you run the questions that I said and literally just sit, let's do that together, you guys. This is one of my favorite exercises. If you put your feet firm on the ground, okay, just by that motion, you just connected to the earth. And you could do it without your feet being firm on the ground. It's just that you're being present with your body. And now you are actually present with the earth. And if you want to, put your hands on your cheeks, on your lap, on your belly, and just take some breaths from energy coming from the earth through your body, going up to the top of your head, and then let it come back down. And when it comes down, the energy is coming down. Now say, okay, all this defense, resistance, anything I'm holding in place that's mine or not mine, I just let it wash away and go into the earth. And then do it again. Breathe in. And then let it just, as you're breathing out, let everything, all those points of views, yours and others, all the thoughts, feelings, emotions, just let them wash away and go straight into the earth. Earth has no point of view. It just is energy. And then do it another time, one more time. Breathe in. And as you let it go, now any walls, limitations, barriers, any defense you may have had, will you let that drop and drop and lower and lower and lower and lower until it's in the earth? And it might have to be some practicing here too, because most of us, what we're doing, what our actions are, they're not from today. We've learned them from other people. We've picked them up as kids. We picked them up as adults. And be patient with you. Like even your willingness to have no defense for 3 minutes, what can that create? And one of my favorite questions, how much space can my body and I occupy not to be impacted, affected, or impinged by other people's universes? Right, wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Because what you do is you now allow you and your body together. It's not about the separation of your body. It's about the communion. You allow you to expand and be this space. It might be 100 miles in all direction. It might be 1,000 miles in all direction. Might be in 10,000 miles in all direction. Might be in 100 miles in all 100,000 miles. It might be in millions of miles in all direction. But now you allow you to be that space, because that's what we are. We're energy, space, and we're consciousness. And when you feel contracted, when you want to fight, just know you're not being your whole space. You are now in the space of everybody else. And when you and your body occupy that space, you now have more space. And what they're being, what they're doing, their trauma and drama doesn't have to affect you. They become the little mosquito while you are the 5,000-pound gorilla. And it's your choice if you want a mosquito to annoy you and bother you, or are you willing to just flick it off and let it go? And this doesn't just apply to your situation. That's the piece that locks us up. We have made everyone else, we've made every situation be so much more significant, and we've done it from this constricted space. All right, what else? If I didn't have to focus on this today, what else can I actually add to my life and living today? Where else can I go? Who can I talk to that can actually be a contribution to the life I would like to live? You know, when Claudia, earlier you were talking about the foundation, one of the things you mentioned is you are the source of it. When we make everyone else and their problems significant, we make us not be the source of our life and living. And then you're at the effect of everything else. You're at the effect of someone else choosing. You're also at the effect of if something goes wrong for them, you have to go clean it up. But when you actually make it that, you know what? I'm going to be the creator of my life and living. And in my life, I would like it to have ease. I like to have it that I have walk in the park. I don't know, add in whatever it is for you. For me, it includes fast cars. It includes travel around the world where I get to be pampered and spoiled. It's me being able to be a contribution to consciousness and empower others to know what they know. And how I do it is my way. But you have to first really look at your life. Who cares what anyone else thinks, but just you? What would I like to have in my life? I was just doing how allowing your business to make you money call right before this. And one of the things we talked about is how much we control our businesses. But yet the business desires to contribute to its own growth. So what if you also looked at it as, okay, me being the person that actually can create the life I desire may not just be me having to do it all. What can I invite into my life that assists me? Like, for example, I love cars, and I do this class called The Gift of Cars Around the World. And one thing that's been really talking to me is about doing more and doing one after the SOP in DC. And I talked to some friends and found that in DC, there's a whole program. Now, that's not the program I want to invest in, but they would be a great partner for the program I want to create. And you know what? That's still facilitating consciousness. It's not just about being in a classroom. It's not just being on a Zoom. What are things that bring you and your body enthusiasm, joy, excitement? If you focus on that, even though I'll tell you not to focus, but if you actually, where your energy is going is what you're going to attract into your life. If your energy is just about the people you don't want in your life, you are going to invite more of that energy into your life. But if you're actually looking at, okay, what are different things I can add to my life? Okay, let me look at that. I'm looking right now for where would I like to live? And it's so easy. I can look in my neighborhood, I can look down the street, but I've been looking at what would be a contribution for me and my body? Where would it be that we're actually excited about opening the door, coming in, and the way that the house can invite us into greater possibilities? Where is that? Like, where's that location where my body and I would like to be? What you think about, you will create. We were in Dublin at the relationship class, and Gary and Dane both talked about this. You are very powerful, and the laws of the universe is what you think, you shall create. What you're putting your energy on is what you're creating in the world. If you're focusing on joy, you actually allow more of that joy energy to actually exist, not just in your life, but you allow it to exist in the whole universe. And this whole thing about the foundation is all these things we've learned. It's all these secret agendas that we have and others have taught us. It's all these places of what our house needs to look like, what our personal lives need to look like, what our money needs to look like, what our businesses need to look like, what our jobs need to look like. But what if none of those rules applied today? What if it truly was the willingness, like Claudia was saying earlier, that flexibility that today, this is the way I'd like to go. Tomorrow, I'm going to take a right turn. The next day, I'm going to go this way. And the willingness to also allow the earth, the animals, other people and beings without bodies to actually contribute to that. It starts with our point of view. So how many points of views are you holding in place that is creating your life and living? Everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy it and create it. Right, wrong, good and bad, pom pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Now, how many of those points of views that you're generating, creating, and actualizing your life belong to you? Vicky says none. Isn't that interesting, Vicky? You're generating, creating, actualizing your life, but none of those points of views are yours. So now that you know this, what else do you have the ability and capacity to create, generate, and actualize that you've never considered before? But they're available right now to be chosen. Anything that doesn't allow you to be, know, perceive, receive, and have that awareness, we destroy and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pump, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. It's not about blaming others because it's their point of view. But when you acknowledge it's not my point of view. So if I was being me, creating my life, what would I choose? What is available for me now? This is the whole being you. Being you is part of every part of your life. And when you're being you, there is this space, there is this ease, there is more enthusiasm and joy. Things become easy. So where in your life are you actually being you? And where you're not, it's okay. It's not about right or wrong. But where else could you be you that you didn't even know you could be? And being you is a whole other subject. Facilitate that in a different way later. But just to start this conversation, so many of us live every day based on things that we think we created and therefore we have to hold on to. What if it doesn't matter whose points of view created your life? What if it doesn't matter what you chose 10 seconds ago? You have the tool. You can destroy it and create it all. Make it go away. Okay? Now, at this 10 seconds, what would you like to choose? It's funny, Gary always says that. And, when I first heard it like 7 years ago, I didn't know what he meant. But he's saying what you think and what you are focusing your energy on is what you're creating. So you first have to decide, what do you want to create? Even in a relationship, is your target that you're gonna try to make this relationship work? Yes? Okay, that's one. And if you're not, okay, but just know whatever you're choosing is how your actions, your words, and the things that you're generating, creating are going to influence. Okay, so Vicky says, I'm so happy to contribute to generating other people's lives for them. I'm such a contribution, laugh out loud. I'm ready to create, generate, actualize what is true for me. How does it get better? Yay. Now would you be willing to actually receive all the money, all the gifts, and all the capacities and talents that came along with you contributing and generating other people's lives for them? And would you be willing to receive it at today's value? So whatever the dollar, euro, whatever is going for today, even if this happened 1,000,000 years ago? She says, oh yes. So how does it get better? This is the thing. It's not about resisting, not contributing to others. There's an energy that we are willing to be to advertise for others, to contribute to other people's lives. That's actually one of the joys that we have. It's not about making it wrong. It's about the willingness not to think that's your only choice. And the willingness, when you're contributing, it has the definition of contribution that is gifting and receiving simultaneously. So when you're gifting, it's about receiving at the same time, whether it's the earth, whether it's anyone else. So it's not about just saying this, drop it. No, Would you be willing for all the kindness that you've done for the world? And anything you've done unkind that you thought was unkind, but was exactly what the world needed to have the awareness of what we have now? Now, would you be willing to receive from all of that? Would you allow all of that to contribute to you and your life, your bills, your contribution to what else you'd like to add to your life? That's wealth, you guys. Wealth is not just about cash or money. It's the richness in your life. It's the willingness to receive from everything. It's the willingness to add. It's the willingness to let someone say you're a bitch and make money from it. It's the willingness not to let it affect you and to be that interesting point of view that receives from everything and everyone. There's a tree in front of my house, not the one that we planted, but my neighbor's. And when I first moved in, it was a pain in the butt where it was located, and it was blocking the house, and it was doing all sorts of stuff. And we had people who said, let's cut the tree down. And I was like, no, let's not cut the tree down. But I went and I started to talk to the tree. And I would ask the tree, hey, thank you so much for being here. Like, what contribution would you like to make that people haven't been willing to receive here? And then I was like, wow, this tree is such a gift. But it's not just contributing one way. It was my willingness to also receive from the tree. I can't explain it, but the way it used to block things, it doesn't block anymore. It's like almost like all those things were showing up just to show me to ask other questions and my willingness to receive from something different. Now, I love trees and their contributions, and it happened before I moved into this house. But still, there's so much more that I'm learning every day about trees. So what about your house or your apartment, wherever you live? Would you be willing to allow it to contribute to the foundation of your life? Would you allow the bus, the train, the cars, your car, would you allow them to contribute? I used to, when I first started with Access, I used to do classes in my basement. I have this beautiful basement, just full, gorgeous. And I didn't schedule a class or an event here without asking my house, hey, if I do it this day, will you be able to contribute? And I knew the days it said no, wasn't the house wasn't contributing, is that something else was coming up that day. That day was just not the day to have a class. On one time, I was going to do a class, and then I got a no, and I ended up not doing it. And then I can't remember, something happened in my kids' school at the university they were at. And if I would have had the class, I couldn't have gone to go assist in whatever that was. And when I got the phone call, it was so funny. It was like, now it makes more sense. It's not always logical. It's not always linear. Yeah, what would your car like to contribute? And what is your car already contributing? And what are you already receiving? Because that's the other part. We want to go always to what we're not doing. But would you be willing to flip it? What are you already being? What are you already doing? What are you already receiving? What are you already perceiving that you haven't even acknowledged yet? You don't have to know it cognitively. Would you just be willing to say, okay, whatever that is, I receive it? Cool. Awesome. Any other questions? Anything coming up for people as we're chatting? I know some of you guys, your faces. Some of you can't see your faces, just your name. Stephanie says, I would like to move and I just got that the house is not letting me go yet. Okay, so on that note, is the house going to be more powerful or you? Haha, me. Okay. So one thing about houses, remember houses have consciousness. And one of the fun things, I don't know, you have to see what it is for you and your house. My previous house that we were in, I had just made this house gorgeous. Like literally we renovated every room, the kitchen. I mean, we just put so much money in that house. And I don't know, maybe a day after we finished or a week after we finished, I told my husband, I was like, okay, let's move. And he thought I was crazy. And I was like, but the house feels small now. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, the kids have gotten bigger. We need a bigger house. And the house wasn't ready to go because also the people inside weren't ready to go. So I always recommend talk to your house. For me, everything starts with gratitude first. So it's like, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you for taking care of me and my body. Thank you for taking care of my children. Thank you for taking care of my husband. Like just being grateful for the house and the ways that it's been a contribution to your life. And then I ask it, whatever it is that we have connected or committed to each other, would we be willing to just let it go now and destroy it and create all the projections, expectations, all the conclusions, and all the commitments we have to each other? Right, wrong, good and bad, pump, back, all night, shorts, boys and beyonds. And then I actually ask the house, who would you like to live here? Who would you like to own? Because it is the house, you have to feed the house so it owns you. You pay the mortgage, you bring it food and everything else that goes inside it. So ask it, hey, who would you like to own you? And would you be willing to pull them in with total ease? And when you start to let go of the points of views you have to be committed to the house has to you, and if anyone else is in the house, you actually want them to do the same, you're going to find that there is no glue holding it in place anymore. Instead, it's this free energy that's now open and available to pull in other people. And you may have to take some action. You may need to get a realtor or list your house or do some action to it. But first, it starts with you letting go your points of view of the house and also anything that the house is still holding on to. And try it. And let me know if you do this, let me know how it goes. Awesome. You're so welcome. Yeah, we're actually going to be selling our house too in the next few months. And I started the conversation with the house. And it's interesting. My last house, we did get a realtor, but I pretty much did everything. I even staged the house and everything. And we had 8 offers that first day the house was open, and we had like 50 families that came. So just know, and that was before access. Just know everything has consciousness, and it can assist you and contribute to you and your foundation of your life if you allow it. Now, don't make this significant, but I found there's something about the color yellow. Even if you put a yellow balloon, it doesn't have to be like a sign. There's something about yellow that draws people to houses. So if that ends up being a contribution. Cool. Yes. Anything else? We have 10 minutes, you guys. We have 10 minutes together. And foundation of the life, it includes anything: business, money, bodies, relationships. Anything else you guys would like to know about? So in terms of Global Foundation, I know you guys, some of you guys had that question about Global Foundation. Global Foundation was really amazing, actually. There was, I don't know, more than 1,400 people online, and there was close to 300 in the room. And so the energy we created together really moved things forward so quickly, and just letting go of stuff. And it doesn't matter how many I've facilitated, it doesn't matter how many I've attended. It's always greater awareness, even with the tools that we do know. So I'm curious, like whether you've ever taken a foundation class or not, what questions do you have? Like truly, like even the question of like, how does it get even better than this? Or what else is possible? It actually allows you to go beyond the restrictions and the limitations of this reality. And it opens you and your awareness to greater possibilities. One of the reasons I love facilitating foundation, and I do it around the world, is that we all, there's a gift we each bring to what we have generated and created, but we also bring a gift to greater possibilities with each of our reaches and asks. And for me, foundation is 4 days of truly unmelting and dissolving any of those things that we're locking into place and allowing us to open these new doors, just like, you know, Claudia was saying, like this bendable possibility, and not making it that our foundation even has to be solid. And for me, one thing that I've had a lot of fun with is I tend to have a lot of facilitators that take my foundation classes, and how much it empowers them to facilitate differently their own classes. And you don't have to be a facilitator to be in the class, but it's always been such a gift to see that people could be facilitating these classes themselves, and yet what it ends up contributing to them to be part of it, whether there's bars or body process facilitators or facelift or conscious, any of the specialties or certified facilitators. And I remember one guy took my class a few years ago, and he said, I've been in Access 8 years and I haven't been able to change this one thing in my life. And you really allowed me to not only just change it, but actually create with it. So what is it that you guys can not only just change, but you can allow you to create with it? And it always stayed with me, because it's like we always look at change as we have to let it all go. We have to destroy it. But it doesn't have to be. It could be, what is the gift of this? And how can I truly use it in a way that it's to my advantage, but not just to your advantage, because when it's your advantage, it also generates and becomes an energy that's available for others. Yeah. And I had one person who took my class who, I didn't know this at the time. I followed the energy and had asked her to come and all these other different things. And she had plans to commit suicide. And I had no idea at the time, because it's not linear. It's just energies that become available. And on day 4 of foundation, she shared it with us that she'd even planned a date. She had 4 kids. Her youngest was like 2 years old. And she just got this space and ease in this class that actually gave her like hope to live, but not just live, but to thrive. And I don't know, foundation for me is just one of those things. It brings all sorts of people from different backgrounds together. And it's always fun to see what we can create together. And it's not there to solve your problems, but it's there to let you know you have choice and you can change anything and everything. And I love that there's body processes, because I love bodies. And we spend 4 days of doing body processes in the class too. Yeah. Yeah, it's really remarkable. And I don't make the tools significant, but truly, how can we use these amazing tools to our advantage? And one molecule that we change, it's not just a molecule that changes for you, it truly changes for everything around the world. And that's the other cool part of all this. So if it would be fun for you guys, there's facilitators all around the world. I am facilitating some foundations coming up I'm excited about. One of them will be in Russia in May. And I'm so excited. We'll also have German translation as well as Russian. I've had the gift of going to Russia twice and see its beauty and the kindness in the people and the amazing food. The architecture is just gorgeous. And it's opened up so many things for me. And I'm doing this foundation and opening up to other languages, playing with also maybe having some French translation too. But like, explore where are places that your body would also like to be with this class if you're taking the foundation or anything else, because your body will give you a lot of information. I did a lot of local things initially, and then I started to travel, and I realized like there's this gift when we also travel. We don't have to, but it also opens up possibilities and receiving from others in a way that I think most of us haven't even thought was an option for us. And if you and your body are excited about something, you can generate and create the money for it. And that's ask, am I choosing this for me? Am I choosing it for someone else? When you choose for you, most of the time it actually is that you'll do whatever it takes to generate and create it. But when you're doing it for someone else, that underlying energy, it may not show up because it's not really what you desire to have. So that's the other thing I've found a lot of times. Are you creating for you? Are you creating for others? And not that it's right or wrong, but just for you to be more aware of what it is and who it is you're creating for. So we have 3 more minutes, you guys. I'm so excited you're here. Yeah. And I have lots of fun things coming up. My business name is Global Wellness for All, and we're on social media, and you guys can find us there. You can email us anytime you need something. And, most of our stuff is on Facebook as well. So if there'll be other stuff you'd like to come and play, I'm not sure the date. I think I'm going to move it. But I also have a class called Control Freak, and how to use it to your advantage. Right now it's scheduled for the end of March, but we're going to be doing a few other things, so I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it that date or not. And I love Access and the tools, and I'm a facilitator of so many things. So whether it's about business, whether it's about creation of wealth, whether it's about being a conscious parent, conscious kids, or now I'm a conscious horse, conscious rider facilitator, being you, right body and right voice, just come play. We have so many things going on. And it's not just about me. Find a facilitator that will work for you. What will create greater for you and your body and your life, and go from there. So if you guys need anything, you let us know. And if you guys are looking to grow your business, I have a free thing called Grow Your Business Bites, and they're 2.5 to 4.5 minute videos, and they're in 9 languages. So if that could be a contribution for you, we'll put it out in the email. It's free. You can sign up and it gets delivered to your mailbox. So thank you for being here. Yeah, my horse said yes. After I get the yes, Ingrid, yes, you can. If you sign up for this Zoom on the, if you already got this Zoom information, you should already be signed up. If not, yeah, there's a link, and you'll get the replay. Everyone who signed up will get a replay of this, so you have it available. Yeah. Yes, for others, definitely. Yes. That link to sign up will be there. We're not going to expire it right now. And you're most welcome to share it with other people too. Oh, thank you so much. I'm very grateful. Thank you guys for your feedback. Very grateful. And remember, like, all of us generated and created this energy. So please, what futures did we create by just choosing to be together today? And there's these new doors of possibilities. Would you be willing now to say, wow, how does it get better? I don't need to know what it is, But now it's available and it's my choice to step into it and be it. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So grateful for you guys. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Stop the
Bye.
recording. All right.